Obviously, there are a ton of differences between the left and the right. And I think even more differences between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. But I think if we had to boil it down to just one key difference, the one most glaring difference of all, I would say that that's Donald Trump actually listens. Now, obviously, he might not listen to his staffers and, the people that tell him to rein it in with all the DEI stuff and all that, but he believes that stuff to be true. A lot of people believe that stuff to be true. I believe that stuff to be true, right? He doesn't listen to those people, but I believe he listens to his voters. He listens to the people that actually matter. That's the difference. And I think it appears he also listens to what the left says about him. And the left says that Republicans are going to destroy IVF and Republicans are bad for the family and all that stuff. And in a complete and total chess move, this is what Donald Trump says to that.
Our efforts to help working families. I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely. And for this same reason, we will also allow new parents to deduct major newborn expenses from their taxes so that parents that have a beautiful baby will be able. So we're pro-family. Nobody's ever said that before. But the IVF treatments are expensive. It's very hard for many people to do it and to get it. But I've been in favor of IVF right from the beginning. If you talk to them, they'll say, oh, he really doesn't like, they have ads like I'm against it. It's just the opposite. By comparison, they're against it, but I'm totally in favor of it. But we're going to do what I just said. We're going to pay for it, and it'll help families because a lot of families can't use it. And a lot of these same families have been hurt so badly by their inflation. They caused the inflation, and we are going to pay for the IVF treatments, fertilization. They're going to pay for it. We're going to take care of it.
I cannot even describe how massive of an idea that is. I mean, people wait a long time to have kids now. And a lot of the reason for that is younger people, they don't actually feel like they can afford to build a family in Kamala Harris's America. And by the time they can afford it, it's not easy, man. It's tough to get pregnant the older you get, right? Not everybody can afford fertility treatments. And in fact, actually, most people can't. Most people cannot afford fertility treatments. And so this is a massive, massive idea. And it's so massive that I have no doubt. I 100% expect Kamala Harris to steal this idea by Tuesday next week. There's no doubt that she won't find a way to co-opt this, right? But here's where we're at. Think about where we're at. These are some of the amazing Trump policy ideas that we've heard so far. You got no tax on tips. You got expand the child tax credit. We heard him demand the resignation of everyone in a leadership position that had anything to do with the Afghanistan surrender. That's massive. He promised to pardon J6ers, that people that have no business in prison, not violent people, nothing crazy like that, but people like the praying grandmother, people who should not be in prison. And one of my other favorites, this is my favorite, the rehiring and repaying of all the military members that were fired over Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's ridiculous vaccine mandate. These are great ideas. And now we hear government-subsidized fertility treatments and the expansion of the tax write-offs for early life expenses for your kids. These are great ideas, man. And they just keep coming. The great ideas just keep coming because these people listen. I mean, juxtapose that with Kamala Harris. She stole no tax on tips, stole the expanded child tax credit, and the only original idea she's come up with is her own brand of communist price fixing and the taxing of unrealized capital gains. And it's crazy. I mean, just check this out. Consider this. This is where we're at, man. All the fake conservatives on liberal corporate media, they couldn't get on TV fast enough to condemn IVF for all or whatever we're going to call it. They haven't said a word about price fixing or any of the other commie garbage these people push, but they run to the cameras as fast as they can to jump all over this. And they actually point something out that I still can't believe so many on the left haven't reconciled.
Just moments ago, Donald Trump made a remarkable policy announcement on in vitro fertilization, or IVF. Take a listen to this.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
Alyssa, there has been a lot of debate within the Republican Party over IVF. What's your sense of why he's announcing this now?
Well, listen, Trump obviously realizes that the vast majority of Americans support IVF. Some of us are here because of IVF, but this is such an absurd policy proclamation. So now Republicans are going to argue for government mandates on insurance companies, or the federal government is going to pay for IVF, which the first round can cost between $10,000 and $20,000. This goes back to this, this whole argument. They've been attacking the Harris campaign about not being transparent, not answering enough questions. Donald Trump is going to have to explain how on earth he plans to pay for this. It feels like, as a lifelong conservative Republican, this is a Bernie Sanders-like policy, as though the money is going to fall out of the sky and we're going to be able to give everyone free things to get their votes. I don't know a traditional Republican that would think that this is sound conservative policy.
Think about this. Listen to these people, man. As a lifetime conservative, how dare he? These people still don't get it, man. Donald Trump is not particularly conservative. He never has been. Probably never will be, right? I mean, the list goes on, but in the wake of the Vegas shooting, he pushed a pretty unconstitutional ban of the bump stock. I actually think the Supreme Court knocked that down. He's held pretty liberal positions on abortion, and really the list goes on and on and on. But here's where we're at in modern day, in the year 2024, man. Literally every single thing, everything has marched so far to the left that Donald Trump, a New York freaking billionaire, longtime donor to Smucky Chuck Schumer, is the last best hope for the cause. And the cause really isn't even conservatism anymore, man. Conservatism has essentially just been replaced with common sense. It's common sense to protect children from pornographic materials. It's a no-brainer. It's common sense to protect kids from crackpot medical theories, right? It's common sense to secure borders. It's common sense to not engage and perpetuate in never-ending money laundering foreign wars, right? It's common sense to protect and build and support the nuclear family. These are not conservative principles. These are just common sense. That's all this is, man. And Donald Trump, he's not running as some super conservative or some true perfect Republican. He's running as himself, just like he did in 2016, just like he did in 2020. And honestly, man, the fact that this is even anywhere near a close race completely freaking blows my mind. There's no planet that this should be anywhere near a close race, right? But this is the byproduct of 10 years of 24/7, round-the-clock, vitriolic propaganda and character assassination. And this is where we are. And it's completely up to us, man. Like Sean Ryan says, if you guys watch Sean Ryan, he says, grab a friend when you go to the polls. I think that's absolutely right, and that's what we got to do. But that's all I've got, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.